Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for day 2 of Lead with Integrity. We've had so much fun already this week with Dr. Mariah Yates from Western Kentucky, who was our presenter yesterday. Today, you guys have the pleasure of hearing from one of my mentors and our boss, Alfonzo Alexander. So Alfonzo is the Chief Ethics and Diversity Officer at NASBA, and he is also the president of the NASBA CPT. I know several of you on this call have taken the Ethical Leadership Certification Program and participated in our Ethics in Action video competition, both of which came from his leadership. He is a wonderful leader, and I am so fortunate to work for him. So we are so excited to have him here today. Please give it up for Alfonzo Alexander.
Hello. Thank you so much. Can you guys hear me okay? Excellent. Ashley, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm excited to be here. I have in the last 10 years spent a significant portion of my life and career traveling, getting to go out and visit with students like you guys on college campuses, as well as with professionals as I've done the work that I do. So me getting an opportunity to share with you today is special because I don't get to do it as much as I used to, and it's something that I really enjoy. So I am going to share with you quite a bit of information around a topic related to leadership and ethics. So the best thing for me to do right now is to get you going and to share my screen so that you can see the content that we get to and not have to necessarily be so tied into me. So Ashley, let me know if you can see the screen now. Perfect, excellent. So as you guys know, this is the Lead with Integrity series that we started actually last school year, and it's been great opportunity for us to engage with you guys. And we want to do that again today. This is a part of the NASBA Center for the Public Trust, and specifically the Student Center for the Public Trust, where we focus on trying to help you be better ethical leaders tomorrow than you are already today. Today, I'm going to talk about a topic, or the topic of my presentation is the true you. But I'm going to focus on what you see at the bottom of the screen there: passionate, authentic, compassionate, and experienced leadership. That's my area of focus in this presentation, and we'll jump right in it, and I hope you enjoy. I love doing acronyms, so if you think about PACE, that's really where we're going. We're going to focus on the pace of leadership. So as you can see here, there are people running, but there's one person out front that's setting the pace. For us today, PACE is going to be what we use to remember that great leaders are passionate about the mission. Great leaders are authentic with their stakeholders. Great leaders are compassionate with those that they lead. And great leaders use experience as a guide. And so those are the 4 concepts that we're going to focus on today during this presentation. I want it to be very interactive for you, because if all I do is talk for an hour, you guys will be bored. So if you have a question, put it in the chat. Ashley will stop me so we can discuss that question. There are also going to be points where I'm going to ask you questions, and I want you to take your phone off or your computer off mute, and let's engage, and we'll have a good time with this. So let's jump right in it. First, here's a video that I'd like for you to see and think about passion. This guy right here is probably the most passionate guy I know, and you'll see why when you see this video.
Let me tell you something I live for. I'm passionate about inspiring people. Why? Because most people are waiting on a boss. And what this means, no alarm clock needed. My passion wakes me up. This is about you finally being your own boss. This is about being inspired to be your best without somebody else pushing you. This is about pushing yourself. This is about taking total ownership of your life. This is about living life on your own terms. I don't need an alarm clock. All I need is my passion to wake me up. All I need is my passion to push me. All I need is my passion to grind. Are you ready to be your own boss? Well, it's time to boss up and get rid of that alarm clock and allow your internal clock to get you going.
You know, anytime I talk with anybody about passion, I like to show something from this guy. His name is Eric Thomas. Eric is, if you look on different lists of top motivational speakers in the world, Eric will be number 1, 2, or 3 on any of those lists. And part of what he talks about and what he's passionate about is passion and drive. And he became one of those top motivational speakers because he is so passionate that he developed a following just from posting free content on the internet. People started following him, following his leadership, and he has built a massive business around his passion, his energy, and his drive. So what I would say about Eric is a great example of someone being passionate about the mission. See, his mission in life is to educate others and to educate leaders. And he has become so passionate and so well known about it that other people have started to follow him. So why is passion so important from a leadership standpoint, particularly an ethical and an integrity-based leader? Passionate leaders have some things that they are able to do just by virtue of their passion. One is they can inspire others. Because they are so passionate, people can join into that passion and believe and get behind that mission. That's what Eric has done. He's a great example of that. They also can clarify their vision. If I have a vision as a leader and I am so passionate about it, what I always end up doing is talking about it and linking other things back to that vision. And therefore, people understand the vision, even if they don't catch it the first time, or maybe not even buy into it the first time, because the passion that the leader brings to the table, it will help open up the opportunities for people to understand and get clear on what that vision actually is. People who are passionate leaders are able to communicate in a compelling way. You just saw that. You saw how passionate Eric is. Like, I don't need an alarm clock. And he was giving you a visual to support that. Passion for any of us, if we are passionate about something and believe in it so much, then it's easy for us to overcome the adversity, go around the obstacles, jump over the hurdles that come there because we're passionate about where we're trying to go. And our energy from that can be just infectious. People really buy into the energy that we bring to the table. And it can make us do some things that really many people might believe to be supernatural or dangerous or things that could put our life in jeopardy. But if we're really passionate about that, not only is it something that we might be driven to do, but it also will help drive others. And I'll show you that in a video here in just a moment. But the other thing that passion can do and passionate leaders can do is that they can anticipate what's coming and not be reactive, but be proactive, because you have so much invested in what you're trying to do. You can see some of the challenges that may come your way. So I encourage you, if you want to be a true you, to be a type of leader that others are interested in following, they want to follow you as a leader. And you guys, believe it or not, you all are in positions to lead in various capacities in your life. One of the things that can help you be most successful as a leader is to be passionate. Now, here's another video that I think will give you an example of another passionate leader as well.
I'm pretty sure that Dr. Martin Luther King never said, "Thank God it's Friday." When someone says, "Thank God it's Friday," what they're really saying is, I'm me only 2 days a week, and the rest of the time is miserable tasks that I just want over with. But when we tell ourselves that we'd rather be doing something else, we suck all passion away from what we're doing now, and we become simply effort misers. I study and teach history, and history tells us that passionate leadership the kind that gives people meaningful lives, is anything but effortless. Let's imagine a day in March of 1965 in Selma, Alabama. Hundreds of civil rights marchers, led by Dr. King, gathered on the Pettus Bridge. Their goal was to actually use the right to vote that they had technically won a century before. The opposition was furious, determined, and ready for battle. The state armed its troopers with bats, tear gas, water cannons, and bullets to stop the march. That's what awaited the unarmed marchers on the other side of that bridge. And just being arrested was the best case scenario they could expect. Dr. King warned his marchers that they would be clubbed, gassed, blasted by water cannons, shot, bitten by attack dogs. But they went across anyway. That's passion. Dr. King was so devoted to his vision of a just society that he was willing to have his body broken in half for it. That's why people followed him and still do. He was willing to take the first bullet for the causes he believed in. He didn't sit comfortably and safely in an office telling others to sacrifice. He sacrificed himself. He gave his life to his vision of social justice. Now, I'm not saying that you have to die to be passionate, but Dr. King's example applies to all walks of life. I taught history in the public schools and now outside of the schools, and I know it's true. Leaders of passion don't just point to a destination and tell others to go there. They go there themselves first. Passionate leadership isn't about power. Power means just coercing others. Passionate leadership means giving your strength to others, not through talk, but through the examples you set. So which trumpet of life are you playing from? Power or passion? When we master and commit to something and show how that subject intensely matters, we gain the courage to share that passion, and then others will follow. I'm pretty sure that Martin Luther King never said, "Thank God it's Friday," and his is an example that inspires me, and maybe you too.
All right, so passionate leadership. Great example there. Great historian sharing information with us about passionate leadership. Here's a time for us to engage. I just introduced the first of 4 areas that I wanted us to discuss in detail, and I want to get your feedback on it as it relates to passion. So please, someone share with us some of your thoughts now that you've seen and heard from me on passion. What are your thoughts about it? Feel free to take your self off of mute. Love to hear your comments. All right, I'm not hearing any yet, so I've got another question I'm going to add to it, because remember, I told you guys that we need to engage. So what do you think about a person who is so willing, as you just heard about Dr. Martin Luther King, a person who is so willing and so passionate about something that they would know that they would be putting themselves in danger and even the people they were leading in danger, but still was able to get hundreds or thousands in this case of people to follow and go through? What's your thought on that?
It's pretty impressive to me. I can't imagine how much he went through that we don't even have a clue about. I mean, even the minor slights, these little tiny things that would have happened each and every single day. And his legacy is just magical that any one person could inspire all of what he was able to inspire. It's very impressive.
I completely agree. Thank you for sharing that. Other thoughts?
You have a message from Teresa coming through. She said, an amazing leader full of passion. I think she's talking about Martin Luther King.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Ashley. I can't, because of whatever I've got going on with my screen, I can't see the messages. So if you would interpret those for me, I appreciate that. So passion is one of the most important things that can help a leader be successful, because people buy into that passion. So thank you guys for sharing your thoughts on that with us there. Passion is key. Let's go ahead and move on to the second component that I wanted to share with you. And that is being authentic with your stakeholders. So in this case, we're talking stakeholders being people that you lead, stakeholders are being customers, and stakeholders are being anybody that you engage with in order to execute on the mission of whatever the organization or group is that you lead. So authentic leaders have self-awareness. We as authentic leaders have the opportunity to be open with people. We can be open with people about our positive things that we know we're good at. We can be open with people about our deficiencies. Ashley, Cedric, and I had a conversation last week or so about being authentic. And I was sharing with them that I'm a person who has over 30 years of management experience, but this time during this pandemic has been the first time that I've ever had to be in a situation where everyone that I worked with was in a different place. And there's a struggle for me. I normally am a person that will put systems and things in place where we can be accountable to each other. But my self-awareness says to me that my schedule has been thrown off. So I am having to, at 52 years old, relearn how to lead, because I'm not able to lead in a centralized place like I've always been able to do. And I believe that they appreciated that, because there's some things that sometimes they're waiting on me, but because we don't see each other and I don't have those reminders or that level of accountability, it's been a struggle for them as well. But authentic leaders have to be comfortable sharing your deficiencies and as well as your things that you bring to the table that are positive with the people that you work with. One thing about authentic leaders too is because you're so focused on the end goal, it helps you to be able to be in tune with the long-term vision. Your authentic nature of wanting to meet the long-term goal will help you as an authentic leader. You have to lead with integrity. Leading with integrity means that you will be the person as a leader to help make sure that things happen as they're supposed to. Leading with integrity speaks to making sure that you are dependable, making sure that you're one who gets things done when the team is depending upon you. And that's a tough responsibility, but if you want to be a leader, it's something that you have to take on. Being transparent. If you fail in one particular situation as a leader, the greatest thing that you can do is admit that failure. And people will trust you, because not only will they know that in good times you are dependable, but they can depend on you as a leader when things are down as well. Authentic leaders listen and are aware of what's happening. Authentic leaders share not only in the benefits of the process, but they share in the success at the end. I'm going to show you another video here just now, and I want you to think about the things we just discussed as an authentic leader, and then also watch this video very closely and watch the transformation that you see. And then we'll go into breakout sessions for about 4 minutes to give you guys an opportunity to discuss what you just saw in this video, and then we'll come back and discuss them collectively. So check it out.
Sometimes in life we search for opportunities of life change. Moments of leadership aren't always met with a fanfare, a spectacle, or pageantry. They're selfless and noble. They're inherent, instinctive. Authority doesn't always equate to leadership. A leader knows that teamwork is always better than going at it alone. And being reliable can carry more weight than any position or power. A leader goes the extra mile when you're tired and when it doesn't make sense to. But integrity is about doing the right thing when no one is looking. It's not about having all the answers, but taking what's in your cup and pouring it into someone else's that is less full. People follow those who are selfless and open-handed. A leader sees the potential in someone and blows wind into their sails. You go throughout your day hoping to unlock the potential in someone, hoping that something clicks. And sometimes the day ends wondering if any significant difference has been made, if any ground has been covered, if there is any tangible evidence of your investment, if it was just lost on those you've led, yielding no return. There will be times when you feel like giving up on those whom you've led, when you think that all that effort, all the guidance and direction is all for naught. Please, don't give up on us. Even though we may not be asking for it, we are desperate for you to lead us. Because we are watching. We are paying attention. We're begging for you to keep going. You help us realize that leadership is something worth fighting for, worth running after. What we get is rich, and it's greater than any monetary reward. It's been said leadership doesn't happen in a day. It happens daily. And your influence on us will have ripples felt for days to come.
All right. Ashley, would you put us in breakouts? And you guys take 4 minutes and discuss what you just saw there and the impact of authentic leadership and how it can transform someone. And then we'll come back and take a few comments from the full group.
Okay.
Sometimes in life we search for.
Hello. You're on mute.
Well, I undid the video, I just didn't do the audio. So I wanted to finally get a chance to in person say hi to certainly Ashley and Alfonso. Cedric, I haven't had a chance to meet you yet, but hello.
Great to see you again. How's everything?
It is great. I was actually teary on that last video.
Oh,
That
it's
was
impactful, isn't it?
That was
awesome.
good.
Absolutely. The whole yesterday's presentation was wonderful, and today's is as well. So I know I keep sounding like a broken record, but thank you all for what you do and for permitting me and my students to be part of this with you.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure.
But I
Thank you
really
for
did
joining
love
us.
it.
It's been a great conference week for sure.
How are you guys doing? Are you on campus with students, or are you remote or hybrid, or what's?
Actually, all of the above.
Okay.
It depends on where you are. I was telling Ashley last week, my husband is a music professor here as well. So we both are continuing to teach from home this semester and doing lots of teams. And but I am getting a chance to stay, as I think I said briefly yesterday, visible. I'm seeing them, the kids on the other side of the screen. But yes, we do have some of our courses that are doing hybridization on campus, and some of them are full-fledged, and unless they're in quarantine, and we still are dealing obviously with a lot of that. So to me, honestly, the consistency of being able to know that I've got them every day here, it has been great. But how are things otherwise with all of you?
Going well. Yeah.
Great. It is.
It's variable in terms of how much engagement we're able to have on campuses, just like what you experience. It just depends on what's going on the campus, but some are doing better than others. But overall, we're happy with the progression that we're experiencing.
You know, we've all been finding, I don't think there is a new normal, and actually talking about that a great deal, that the adaptability. I mean, I, for one, was someone, just because I've taught for so long, I did not want to do anything online. I swore I'm never going to do it. So the whole never say never. And this is certainly, I still am, for me particularly, I don't love the solely online where you don't have any of this sort of interaction. But yes, I've had to adapt, you know, old dog, new tricks kind of thing. So I think it's good lessons, and hopefully modeling that for some of them to realize that, yeah, you can never say never.
Absolutely.
But great. It's great to see you all finally too. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you too. Thanks.
Great meeting you.
I just shared a message. I said, in 2 minutes, you guys will return to the main meeting room. So you just
Okay.
let me know.
Does it count down?
It gives
60
them 1 minute. Yeah, it gives them
Okay.
a 1 minute warning.
All right. Why don't we go ahead and give them that 1 minute warning now?
Okay.
Can we do that, or is it too early?
No.
Hey, Alfonso.
Yes.
This is Zach Camario with the Alabama Society.
Hey, Zach, how are you?
Hey, doing great. I just want to say this was an awesome presentation. One of my coworkers shared the invite with me, and I just wanted to say this has been well worth it. And actually, I think you just responded to me, but if possible, we would love to have this recording to share with our students, and even to get our staff to watch, because I think this should resonate with everyone, from college students all the way up to partners at CPA firms.
Absolutely. These will be emailed out next week. So I'll make sure that you're added to the distribution list. Okay,
great. Well, thank you so much, Ashley.
Of course.
And Alfonso, we'll talk to you in a few weeks with our students at ASU.
That's right. Looking forward to it.
We are too. Thanks so much.
Zach, I saw your name on the list, and I said, I know that name.
Oh, yeah.
Nice to meet you officially as well.
Nice to meet you as well.
Awesome.
All right.
Quickly.
Well, thank you guys for, is everyone in, Ash? I'm sorry.
We're back.
Okay. Thank you guys for your experience. And I'm just itching to hear from some of you in the breakout groups what you discussed, or what your thoughts were about the video, and how authentic leadership can change somebody for the positive. So please unmute and let's hear from a couple of you. I forgot to give my my speech that the longer it takes for people to engage, the longer the session lasts. So, because I don't move forward until we have that engagement. So,
Hi, everybody. This is Isoma, and I was in group 5, and we talked about, we talked about giving, well, I brought up the fact that because of the pandemic, how do you continue to give encouragement to teenagers, and how do we keep going in light of everything that has been changed, and how do you keep moving forward and not giving up?
did you guys, is that a question, or did you guys come up with some answers to that?
Well, that is a question, and we did come up with some answers. We keep going. You keep doing what you have to do in motivating one another. That's the most important thing right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think consistency is so very important. I have a teenager in my home. My youngest daughter is 18, and I think consistency and creativity. I cannot come to her with the same types of proposals that I always have, because her experience is different now. So I have to stay sharp. I even have to get up to speed on different components of technology to be able to effectively communicate with her. But I think when I'm not consistent with her, she really sees and notices that, and appreciates when I make the effort to be consistent, even if it's things that she doesn't want to hear. The consistency is so critically important there. So thank you for that. Someone else, let's hear from one other group.
I was in group 12, and we talked about, just how you don't really know the impact that you can have on somebody else, and to just make sure that you're always, leading with integrity and just doing the right thing, because you never know who's watching and who you can have an impact on.
Absolutely. That is absolutely correct. Thank you, Ellis, for that. The key points in that video, if you missed something, I want to just make sure that everybody got it. In the beginning of the video, the young man who was following the authentic leader stole a rope, right? And he was very disengaged, but that authentic leader recognized that. He believed that this guy had potential. He kept embracing him. You saw when he talked to him, he would encourage him, and we couldn't hear what he was saying, but you saw him give him a pat on his shoulder to let you know that he was encouraging and believed in him. And then you fast forward later, and that same young man who he helped change, who he impacted, was now doing the same thing for other people. That young man had turned the corner and had become a leader, and he was actually utilizing some of those same techniques that he learned when he was being led previously. So a lot can be unpacked there. Authentic leadership is real, and as Ellis said, you never know. As Soma mentioned, we have to be consistent, and this gentleman was consistent with what he did in terms of leading this other young man. So thank you guys for your participation there. I'm gonna go ahead to the next one. So the C in PACE is compassionate leadership. So being compassionate with those who we lead is critically important. But first, before we can be compassionate with others, we have to have self-compassion. We have to be able to understand that we all are humans, we all make mistakes, and we have to be able to be in a mindset where we understand mistakes will happen. Let's figure out the best way to rebound. How do we do that? How can we be compassionate with ourselves and with others? First thing is we have to be intentional. We have to intentionally check in when it comes down to communications with people that we lead. It's really important to check in and make sure that we're looking at the total picture and not just one-sided, because one-sided communication can be problematic. There's a guy that I interact with who does management consulting, and he talks about one of the keys to success for effective communications as a leader is to script out conversations before you have them. think about what may be a reaction to something that I'm going to say before I even say it, and kind of have an idea of how this conversation is going to go, so that you can make sure that you are communicating effectively what it is that you want to communicate. Part of that is making sure that you are being compassionate with the people that you're talking with. It's about intentionality, and it's about making sure that you check in frequently to understand, are you being compassionate at the times that you need to? Now, too much compassion can take you overboard. So you have to have an element of wisdom in there with that compassion. Yes, I can be compassionate because Ashley is about to get married in a couple of weeks and she's got some things going on, but I can't let that compassion overtake her ability to get things done. So I have to be candid with her. So it may mean that I have to say, Ashley, I know you're stressing about your wedding, but you dropped the ball on this. What can we do to help you get back on track? Trust me, that never happens with Ashley. She is a consummate planner, but I just want to use that as an example. So you have to practice wisdom with that compassion and making sure that your focus as the leader is on the bigger picture. There may be a small piece or a small situation here that is impactful, but how does that impact the bigger picture? How do you keep the ball moving forward so that the goals can be met, and you can do it in a way that you engage people with compassion, but still drive toward the success that you want to? And that's the balance that's important between wisdom and compassion. So I've got a video here of a great story from a compassion standpoint that I'd like for you guys to hear, and then we'll have some discussion about it. Check this one out.
This is good. This is a good story. You're in a meeting and somebody is being a jerk and constantly being passive aggressive.
Yeah, we would get together, a team of leaders, as part of the staff meeting for this individual. And there was a colleague of mine, a member of this person's team, who was very effective in their role, but they weren't doing the job the way our manager wanted them to do the job.
Yeah.
And so it would frustrate them to no end, and they would make jokes at this person's expense. They would undermine them in front of the team. And I remember thinking, this is not good for the individual, it wasn't good for my boss, and it wasn't good for us as a team. So we would have one-on-ones every now and again, and I said, hey, I've got to give you some feedback. I said, the next time you feel like making a joke at this person's expense, or you get frustrated and let them know in front of all of us, you should go find a mirror and express that frustration to yourself.
Wow.
Because you're the reason they're in the role. And if you don't like the way they're doing their job, take the time to coach them. And if they're not capable of doing the job the way you believe they should be able to do the job, find another role for them. And if that's not going to work out, then transition them and do it in a way that's compassionate and constructive. And a couple of weeks later, we reconvened, and he said, I have to thank you for your advice.
Yeah.
And as he's saying this, I realized I was doing the exact same thing to someone on my team, the exact same thing. And so in that moment, I kind of vowed that as long as I was going to be responsible for managing other people, I was going to aspire to manage compassionately, where I wasn't necessarily trying to have them do things the way I did them, but I was putting myself in their shoes, understanding what motivated them, their hopes, their dreams, their fears, and try to lead as effectively as possible.
Hi, YouTubers. I'm excited to give you an update about our own.
So that gentleman there was Jeff Weiner. Jeff was a longtime CEO of LinkedIn. He just announced his retirement back in May of last year, but was noted as one of the best leaders in corporate America during his tenure. And what I thought was so very fascinating about that is he was able to see a flaw with someone else. He used wisdom to address it. He addressed it because there was a need for compassion. And I thought his advice was great, to tell the gentleman to look in the mirror first. But then later, he realized that, wait a minute, I'm guilty of this very same thing. So him admitting that and then making the change himself let me know that not only is he a compassionate leader, but he's also an authentic leader. So he brought back in the level of authentic leadership to go along with the compassionate leadership and the wisdom, and that helped him be successful. If you ever look up some information on him, you'll see in the statements that he made about retiring from LinkedIn, one is he probably can't ever spend all the money that he's made over the last 10 years in that role because of the success that LinkedIn had, particularly the last 10 years. But then two, he felt like, I love my job so much that I probably am in a situation where I would stay in it forever, but the company has grown beyond really where my skill set is. And I think that is another example of being an authentic leader that really shows who you are as a leader. So he was being his true self. So look at this chart that I put up here. The wise, compassionate leader matrix. What's interesting here, if you look on the x-axis, so going from left to right, you can see on the left-hand side, the quadrants that put you in an area that may be considered the ignorance level. Now, that's not saying people are unintelligent. Ignorance just means that you don't have the knowledge, so you haven't learned something. But then you look on the right side and you see the wisdom areas. Going north-south on the y-axis, you see compassion versus indifference. And so, and when you look at a chart like this, the zone, the quadrant that you want to be in is in number 2, where you have wise compassion. And what you see there is getting through things done in a human way. Yes, you can be compassionate in quadrant number 1, which is caring avoidance. But what that does is you let your empathy take over and you don't address issues that you need to address. There have been a couple of times in my career where it damaged some things because I had individuals working for me that needed to be transitioned. And I didn't transition them because my compassion overtook me and I knew their personal situation, so I let them linger longer than I should have. There have been other times where I addressed situations using wisdom and compassion, and we were both better. The projects that we were working on were better, and we moved forward faster. If you look down on the bottom quadrant there, number 3, ineffective indifference. That's really a lack of interest and a lack of concern for others and for whatever the mission is, and that's the worst place to be. That means I don't care about what we're trying to do, nor do I care about the people. Literally, people in that quadrant are just collecting a paycheck, have no concern or no wisdom. Number 4 is you use wisdom, but no compassion. That's putting the mission or the goal or the objective above everything else, including the people. You can still get things done there, but when you get things done with that approach and that philosophy, what ultimately ends up happening is you damage people along the way. So quadrant 2 is where we want to be. We want to have the best balance of compassion and wisdom. Let's move on to the next one. The last one is experience as your guide. That's what we want to do, is use experience as your guide. So the E in PACE deals with that. Leaders grow from experiences. There are probably, if you were to ask, there's probably 100 experts, researchers, et cetera, on leadership. 50 of them will tell you that people are born leaders. The other 50 will tell you that leaders are developed. I don't know which one of those is correct. I really don't care. But what I do believe is that whether you started out with some level of leadership ability that's above what others maybe have started out with, experience helps you develop from whatever your starting point is. So if you were born with the ability to lead to some level and the next person wasn't, what's going to make the difference is how you gain knowledge and the experiences that you have. You have to be intentional about learning from your experiences. Good experiences and bad experiences are all experiences that you can learn from. And if you do them enough, they become repetitive. It's like running track. If you ever watch someone who runs hurdles in track, those individuals will run in a rhythmic pattern and jump a hurdle. And it's very streamlined in terms of their approach. They develop an innate skill, muscle memory, to be able to run those hurdles and to be able to increase their speed as they gain strength. Leadership can be that way. You've learned from an experience. The next time you face that same or similar experience, I've been there before, and there's an innate ability to address that. But it only comes from being intentional about learning from both our successes and our mistakes. I would argue that you learn more from your mistakes than you do from your successes. It's very easy to take successes for granted, but mistakes come to your heart and you want to overcome them. If you not only figure out how to overcome those mistakes, but also consider those mistakes a learning experience that you need to grow from, you'll be better off as a leader. Also, make sure that you surround yourself as you grow in your career with other people who have experience, because you can learn from their experiences just as well as you can from your own, particularly from their mistakes. So I encourage you to allow experience to be your guide. So back in review.
This is good. This is a good story. You're in.
We can review real quick. Pace is a way that we can be a leader that really gets into who we truly are. Passionate, authentic, compassionate, and using experience. If you internalize those, I think it will help you grow to be a better leader tomorrow than you are today. Now, Ashley has told me that I needed to leave some time for an opportunity for Q&A. So I am doing that right now. But before I do that, I want you guys to know I've got a friend that works with me whose name is Megan. And Megan did a great job of finding videos to help with this presentation, because these are some great videos that I thought really fit what we were trying to do. So I want y'all to know that Megan helped me with that. And now I'm open for questions.
Feel free to unmute yourself or use the chat box.
Any questions? Well, let me throw one out at you guys. I'm assuming that you guys are involved in student organizations on your campus, and you're having to do something differently than what you've had to do before in terms of engaging people that you're responsible for being in an organization with, especially if you're a leader. How are you guys working through that? If you're an officer in a club, or just tell me what some of the things are that you guys are doing.
I found that having good relationships with the faculty is really helpful. They're really good at offering incentives to go.
Gotcha. So working with them to get them to incentivize your colleagues to participate. Excellent. Okay. Thank you for that, Adam.
I was going to say, Alfonso, Adam is one of our officers at Marshall.
Ah.
Yep.
I love
our
Marshall
chapters.
Very engaged too. Good to see you again today, Adam.
I love Marshall. I've been up there a couple times. I don't have good experiences driving though. One time I got a ticket, my fault. Another time Ashley and I had to get off because there was a wreck on the highway, and at one point we didn't have cell service because we had to take some back roads, but we had a great time while we were on campus. I love your campus. Thanks for your work, Adam.
Thank you.
I think somebody's putting something in the chat. Let's see what this question is. No question. Great presentation. Thank you, Diane. Any other questions or anything? Doesn't have to be about what we talked about.
A thing that us at OSU we've been really focusing on is just interactions with peers, and because obviously you can't, well, they're very limited. Like you're not going to bump into them in a hallway in a class X, Y, or Z, but built using your connections for, well, meetings, announcements, or whatever. But 9 times out of 10, it's going to mean a whole lot more to them if you come out to them like, hey, like I want you here, compared to a mass email.
Got it. Yeah, that's great, Kirk. That personal touch, still being able to try to do it, even though the circumstances are a little bit different. And I know you guys do some creative things with some of the games and activities that you do at OSU. Thanks for that. Let's see, Zach. You're welcome, Zach. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Well, Ashley, I don't know that we have any other questions or comments or anything. You want to give a preview of what we have tomorrow? I'm really excited. Maybe because I'm a football fan, but I'm really excited about tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you, Alfonso, for speaking with our students and our faculty members today. I know they got a lot out of this presentation. This is the first time I'm seeing this presentation, and you did an awesome job. So thank you so much. Join us tomorrow, guys. Day 3. It's our final day of Lead with Integrity. We have Tracy Odie Blunt from the NFL, who's going to be speaking with us tomorrow. So if you haven't already registered, go to studentcpt.org, click Lead with Integrity, and you can register there. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thanks again, guys.